What is going on, everybody? And we are back. We are back at it again on the podcast. You guys already know the deal. Happy to be here. Happy to be talking to another new guest of the channel, Jones'NForSports. You can follow him on Twitter. That's his Twitter at. I'll have that link down below as well. But I'm going to kick it to Jones to start this thing off. Jones, tell us a little bit about yourself, what kind of content you put out there, all that good stuff.
Well, thank you for having me on. First of all, I see what you're doing, and this podcast you got going is awesome. So I'm just glad to be a part of it. Um, I pretty much kind of similar to what you do. I cover pretty much all sports, but mainly the four major ones: football, basketball, soccer, and baseball. But obviously, football and basketball are the most popular, so those are the content that you'll see most from me. But yeah, I just kind of just have fun with it. I see what's going on in the sports world. I'm a big Cowboys fan, born and raised. I root for the Lakers now because LeBron James is my favorite player. But I wasn't born or, born into loving the Lakers. I'm a diehard Knicks fan, first and foremost. Um, and we recently have gotten better. So I've been proud to root for them over this past year or two. Um, and yeah, I just do, little minute to 30-second content, um, just based off of what's, you know, popping, what's the trending topics and stuff like that. And I just try to have fun with the followers and all the sports fans because, you know, sports fans, when we talk sports, we talk raw. We speak real shit, So that's what I kind of try to bring to it, not, what you see on ESPN or some of those other networks. They're kind of cleaning it up. But Jones of Sports, it's for any and everybody to have fun and talk sports the way that you want to talk it.
That is so cool, man. I will say I love the 30 second to a minute content because it's something quick that like
Right.
you can just view on the go. Like I actually yesterday I found myself actually looking at your feed while I was walking to class and like listening to some of your videos, really enjoying
So
them. But Jones,
thanks.
like you brought up, man, your Dallas Cowboy fan. They got a huge game this weekend against a team
Mhm.
that's coming in very hot in the Washington football team. You guys, I believe, travel to FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. What are your thoughts on this game, Jones? How you feeling about the Cowboys this week, man?
So it's funny because I just got off the phone not too long ago, maybe a half hour ago, with my dad, who's also a Cowboys fan. And he basically said the words that I'm going to say right now, which is it's a must win. This is a must win for the Cowboys, not because we're going to lose the division or anything if we lose this game, but it's a must win because we started off the season very hot. Started off 6-1. We're looking great. We're looking like a Super Bowl team. And then after that, we started to go down south and start playing bad. And that to me, I think it's a must win because I think it's a morale thing for the team. I think they need this win against a hot team, a team that's streaking, that's in our division as well, could catch us if possibly for the division. Um, so I think it'll be a good win for us if we get this win because it'll catapult us into the playoffs. When it comes to our Cowboys, yes, we know that the NFC East is a very weak division. We understand that. So for us, we got to win those games that are in our division. And two, it'll help us if we, especially winning out. I don't think we'll win out, but I think the Cardinals will be a tough game for us. But the rest of the games are divisional games. So we got to win out in our divisional games because one, it's a weak division, and two, it'll help boost morale for our team going into the playoffs.
Yeah, and especially too, Jones, like you talk about in a loaded NFC as well, where you really don't want to fall into those
Yeah,
wild card spots where you're going to be
absolutely.
having to face maybe a Tampa, Green Bay, or Arizona in round one of the playoffs on the
Hmm.
road. Um, I think this week's going to be fun. I think it's an intriguing matchup
Oh
because
yeah.
of the way that Washington's looked lately. They've really turned their season around. And Dallas has kind of been a little bit of opposite. They've been kind of up and down these past few weeks. And it'll be really interesting to me what Cowboys team we get. Are we going to get that team that early in the year was dominating,
Hmm.
clicking on all cylinders? Or are we going to get the team that's kind of been up and down? You don't know what Cowboys team you're going to get. And I think obviously having Amari Cooper, CD Lamb, and all those boys back is very helpful.
Yep.
Dak to me looks like a very different quarterback when Amari Cooper's out there versus when he's
Hmm.
not. So I think that's huge that he's going to be out there. And hopefully with this 10-day break in between games, Zeke Elliott looks refreshed,
Hmm.
energized. Tony Pollard kind of looks the same as well, and
Right.
you guys can get back on track. But I just think this is going to be a fun game. The thing I'm most looking forward to seeing is the Trayvon Diggs versus Terry McLaurin matchup. I think that's going to
Yes.
be a lot of fun. Two guys that really play with a lot of joy, Jones. You know, you
Yes.
see these guys when they make plays, they get excited, and it'll be very interesting to see. Now, I'm not sure if you guys will have Mike McCarthy on the sideline because obviously he was out last week with COVID
COVID.
issues.
Yep.
So we'll see if he's back because if he's back, that's big too. It's
Yep.
always better to have your head coach than to not,
Right.
especially on the road in the NFL where it's tough to win. Um,
Absolutely.
Now, Jones, I'm gonna ask you this because we do a show on Sunday where we
Hmm.
make all the predictions, but I'll ask for yours right now. Do you think Dallas wins this game on Sunday?
So that's a very tough question. Um, I'm gonna say, well, right now, before we know, obviously, it's like you said, there's other things that are gonna play into hand. Where we have our coach, is Zeke gonna be healthy? Is CD and everyone else, they're gonna be back, but are they gonna be 100%? I think a lot of things play into this game. As of right now, I'm going to say yes, we're going to win this game because I do believe we are the better team. Um, but it just, I think it depends on how we play the game, because when you look at the first half of the season, we did things like run the ball more than we passed the ball, and we won games because of it. When our running game is not up to par, we do not look good. We just don't. I think Zeke and Dak and Zeke complement each other in the best possible way. If without that uh, running game, the passing game is not going to be efficient. Without the passing game, the running game isn't going to be efficient. So I think it's going to come down to that. So yes, I'm going to say the Cowboys win. I'm going to go in a close one. I don't even think it's going to be a high scoring one. I'm going to go 17-14 Cowboys.
Okay, I think that is a great score, good prediction, and I think this will be a fun game to watch. Another game to watch,
Definitely.
Jones, that we're going to talk about here: Buffalo at Tampa Bay.
Ooh,
Buffalo coming off that loss against New England, where we all kind of thought, "Hey, Buffalo, this is their division to win this year."
right.
Mac Jones and the boys are buzzing right now at the top of that division, and you know, Buffalo, this just kind of turned into a must-win game for them.
Yep.
And they're going up against Tampa Bay, who, by the way, have been playing some really good football lately. How do you see this game kind of shaping out, Jones, in your opinion?
So prior to this week coming up, or maybe even 2 weeks, um, I thought, I mean, I thought preseason that this game was going to be special. But as the weeks have gone on, Buffalo hasn't been looking as great as we thought they were. The Bucs, they don't look as good as they did last year towards the end of the season, like that run that they went on. But they still look good. Um, I think it's going to be a good game, but at the same time, I would not be surprised if the Bucs blow them out. I wouldn't be surprised because the Buffalo Bills have just not looked like that same team that we saw last year. They just don't look dominant. And I knew the Patriots were going to be good this year. I didn't think they would be this good. I
Right.
didn't think they would do what they did to the Buffalo Bills, what they did last week or Sunday. I wasn't, or Monday, sorry. So and then Brady knows that team. Brady played against the Buffalo Bills for his whole career and has I think, the greatest win percentage against that team. So nothing changes. Yes, you're on a different team, but he knows that team, and I think he will know how to manage that game. And the Bucs will pull away with a W handedly. I think Bills will put up some points, but I think it's going to be a blowout. At least 14 points. Bucs win that game.
Yeah, Jones, I think this is really intriguing because you have two teams kind of going in opposite directions. And for me personally, when I see a team lose the way Buffalo did and they're well coached, I normally pick them the next week
Right.
because it's like, well, they're going to get it figured out. Sean McDermott's too good of a coach. Josh Allen's too good of a quarterback. But
Absolutely.
you're talking about going up against a team right now in the Tampa Bay Bucs that, along with the two other NFC powerhouses, have been looking absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, the key to this game is going to be Buffalo's defense. Jordan Poyer, Micah
Yeah.
Hyde are going to have to play huge. Did
Yep.
not play great against New England.
No.
One of the reasons that they were able to run the ball so effectively. So I think Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde need to have a bounce back game. I think they do. I think this game is a little bit closer than some
Mm.
people are kind of thinking. But again, it's like, how good is Buffalo this year? They're 7-5. If they lose this game, they're 7-6. And now,
Yeah.
like, I'm not sure if they're the fourth or fifth best team in the AFC right now. So,
Exactly.
and again, you have New England coming up later down the line as well in
Yep.
Foxborough, where Belichick's really good. So it'll be really interesting. I'm interested to see Allen versus Brady because
Yeah.
two of the most talented quarterbacks in the league, Jones, that normally draws people's attention. You know,
Absolutely. And
so
just to go off of what you said real quick, um, you made a good point. Buffalo's defense did not play good at all against the Patriots. To get run over, literally run over like they did, was an embarrassment. So I would not be surprised if Buffalo's defense steps up because they were so embarrassed the week before that they have a better game this week against the Bucs. It is the Bucs, so that's a tough task. But they definitely need to have a bounce back game because that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
right. And especially too, like New England threw the ball three times. You
Three
almost knew
times.
they were gonna Mac Jones was gonna take the football and hand it off to his running back. You knew it was coming every
You
play, and
knew
they
it.
couldn't even stop it. It reminds me a lot, Jones, of a game we're gonna be seeing this weekend in college football, the Army Navy game, where it's just
Yeah.
they're gonna run the ball and we'll see if they can stop it. Both
Exactly.
both teams.
Yep. Yeah. You got to put your, 8, 9, 10 guys in the box. And hey, man on man, see what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I think too, Gronk has been so good this year for Tampa Bay.
Oh yeah,
It's like him and Brady have just kind of picked off right where they
yeah.
left off in New England, and I just don't like again. It's gonna come. This game's gonna come down to Buffalo's safeties. They're gonna have
Hmm.
to play well for them to win. But Jones, let's keep talking about the AFC. Who do you think, in your opinion, right now is the best team in the AFC?
See, that's a real tough question because I'm looking at my poster of the AFC and NFC, and it's a tough question. The I want to. I mean, right now, a lot of people are saying it's the Patriots. Um, it's kind of hard to disagree with that, to be honest.
Mhm.
It's hard to disagree with that. I like what the Chiefs have been able to do as of late. They've started to get back on their horse and play a little bit better, but they're still not the Chiefs of old. Um, the Ravens, every time they look good and then they lose to a horrible team, and it's like, what's going on with that situation? The Browns don't look great. They got their issues. I do like the Colts, though. I'm not gonna lie. I do like what the Colts are doing, especially with Jonathan Taylor. Um, Wentz has been playing better. He's obviously gonna have his picks and things like that. But he has been playing better this year with his coach. I, I have to go with the Patriots. As shocking as it is for me to say it, they have been playing the best as of late. They're on a 7-game win streak. They have the GOAT, in my opinion, as their coach. He knows situations. He knows every situation, and he has a rookie quarterback, so he's not going to put that rookie quarterback in a lot of harm. So, um, right now, I'm going to go with the Patriots. I like the Patriots.
Jones, I agree. I think it's really between the Patriots and the Chiefs, and I think the
Mhm.
Patriots have been more consistent all year. I mean,
Yes,
even in their losses against Dallas and Tampa Bay, they were in the
hmm
game till the end. Miami, they
absolutely.
could have won. They fumbled on the
Yeah,
34-yard line. So the, they've been in like 3 of their 4 losses. They've played
yep,
really good football late. And also, I mean, Matt Judon and Kyle Van Noy have been absolutely tearing it up.
amazing,
I mean,
amazing.
Matt Judon may have been the biggest signing in the offseason.
Oh yeah,
He has just been balling for that team. And honestly,
huge.
Jones, I think it could end up being Kansas City only because, they've been there, they've done it,
Right,
and Mahomes and Andy Reid, I'm not going to really lose faith in them. Tyron
right.
Matthews Tyron Matthews spoke about how the defense just keeps improving
Mm,
and improving, which they have. I mean, you
they
look over the
have.
past 4 or 5 games, they've looked better to me. Now, I will say that I always like to put context in there. The
Right,
first 2 games, they played Daniel Jones. The second game, they played Jordan Love. Aaron Rodgers wasn't there.
right.
So putting a little context on it, but then when you do what you did against Dallas, when you do what you did against Denver and Teddy
Hmm.
Bridgewater getting those turnovers,
Oh yeah,
you look at this team that's starting to play some really good football right now, and but I'm going with New England because right now they would be the number 1 seed. And Jones, I'm
absolutely.
going to tell you this right now: everybody in the AFC is scared if
Yeah,
the Patriots get the 1 seed and the
and they
bye.
gotta go. Yeah, and then they gotta go travel to Foxborough.
Yeah.
Man, oh man, oh man. But you're absolutely right. That Chiefs defense was the reason for the whole turnaround and that Chiefs uh streak. They've been amazing, amazing, and it's shocking because you don't. Well, not shocking, but they did the same thing last year. That defense always starts off slow, and then as the season progresses, they get better. They get better, and they keep getting better. So I love what the Chiefs defense is doing. I think that is definitely a possibility for another AFC Championship rematch.
And that will be a great, great
Mm-hmm.
game. But Jones, let's shift to the NBA now. Let's shift gears a little bit.
Let's do it.
The Lakers, man. I mean, AD hasn't looked great this year. Russ has kind of been up and down. LeBron's only played, I think, half or a quarter of the games.
Yep.
A lot of heat has been thrown their way in the media. Do you think the Lakers' issues are fixable, Jones? Do you think this team is still a contender? What are your overall thoughts on the Lakers right now?
To answer your first question, are they fixable? Yes, they are fixable. I think this Lakers team is still a good team. The problem is 2 things. These are my 2 biggest issues with the Lakers. Number one, Anthony Davis has to play like Anthony Davis. He has to play like the Anthony Davis we've seen in New Orleans because he just hasn't been playing like that. He's one of the top 5 talents in the league, and he has to show that on every given night. But when you put up 7 or 5 shot attempts in the first half, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. You're too damn good to be putting up 5 attempts. Uh, Taylor Horton Tucker shouldn't be putting up more shots than you. It just shouldn't happen. You're one of, and you're the number 1 option on that team. LeBron has said it since you came there. AD is the number 1 option for the Lakers. So how are you only putting up five buckets? Makes no sense. It means you got to be more aggressive. And I've also noticed at when he plays the 5 position, that's when he usually is a little bit more timid and not aggressive. I don't understand it. I get it. He doesn't want to play the 5 and be beaten up like that, but it's 2021. Nobody's beating up big guys anymore.
No.
The game has gotten a lot softer. So for him to be complaining about that is just it makes no sense to me. He has to be more aggressive. He has to be the number one option and play like the number one option. He keeps saying we can go on a streak, 10-game winning streak. Well, they can't do it without you. It's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So that's got to change. Russ has been playing a lot better. Braun, when he's there, he's been playing good. The number 2 problem, and I think it's the actually biggest problem, is defense. They're not playing any fucking defense. But when you do see them play defense, they look amazing. They look absolutely amazing. I forgot who did they play? The Celtics the other night. The first half they didn't look too good. Second half, their defense started to crank it up, and I don't know if it was against the Celtics. It might have been the game before that against the Kings, where they went on a 60 to like 10 or 14 run. 60 to 14 run. There's defense in there.
Yeah.
There's defense, and that's elite defense. We know that they can put points up. You have some of the top athletes on your team. You got LeBron James, AD, and Westbrook. You even got Melo, who can shoot the lights out still. Offense is not a problem. It's defense. You can't put up 125 points and also let up 125 points.
Right.
It's not good enough basketball. And it's surprising to me because Frank Vogel is a defensive-minded coach. The Lakers last year were 1 or 2 in defensive rating. Now I know those same players are not currently there anymore, but still, I know we don't have the same defensive guys that we had last year. They're not Melo. You can't expect him to play defense like KCP and Caruso. You know, those guys aren't defensive-minded players, but they have to give a little bit more effort, because when the effort is there, they play a lot better. I see it. I can see that when they put effort in their defense, it's lights out, because it turns into transition offense and they get easy buckets. So that's what I need to see more. I need to see more of AD being aggressive, and I need to see defense across the board from everybody, 1 through 15. Once that happens, the Lakers will be right back where they need to be.
Yeah, and people too, like, saying that all the Lakers are irrelevant. It's just a bunch of crap. The
Right, that's
Lakers will
crap.
always be relevant. They're the
Always.
greatest franchise in NBA history. They have some
Absolutely.
of the greatest players in NBA history that have played for them.
Yep.
And while they can still win the title this year, I keep telling people this. I'm like, listen, there's few things that need to be fixed with the Lakers. Number
Right.
one, it's effort. Number 2,
Yep.
Coach Vogel's got to keep experimenting with these rotations to figure out what works. I
Right.
keep people saying, well, why we keep changing up the starting lineup or the bench? I'm like, he's trying to figure out what's working.
Right.
And
It's
once he
early.
figures that out, then he's going to stick with it. And then you guys are going to be coming back and like, oh my God, Vogel's figured it out.
Right.
And another thing, Jones, like you talked about, AD, you got to be better, man. You're an all-star. You're an all NBA type player. You're one of the best players in the world. I mean, you
Champion.
proved it in 2020. You
Yeah.
proved in the bubble when they won the title. You proved it to me and to Laker fans and to all NBA fans out there that AD is that dude. AD is that guy.
Exactly.
Another thing,
Exactly.
LeBron James, you got to be available, man. Once
Yeah.
LeBron, he obviously had to sit out because of COVID. He had to sit out because of injuries this year, so on and so forth. LeBron, you need to be available. You're the best player. You're one of the greatest players to ever play the game of basketball, if not the greatest. Most people argue, and
Yep.
you have to be available. I mean, it's no secret that oh, the Lakers are going to be better with LeBron James on the court. There's no question about it. And
Absolutely.
Jones, I think these next 2 to 3 weeks here are going to be key for the Lakers. Now that they got LeBron back, AD is there, Russ is there, Vogel, I think, is starting to kind of figure it out. And
Hmm.
I think these next 2 to 3 weeks, if the Lakers can put together some type of win streak,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be 15, 20 games, but
Right.
even like a 5 to 7 game win streak, just to get that confidence rolling, people start
Absolutely.
believing in them again. I think the Lakers could be clicking on all cylinders, but again, they're the Lakers. They're always gonna be talked about. People are always
Yep.
gonna react about them too. I see
Exactly.
this all the time on my feed, and I'm sure you do too, of
Oh
people
yeah.
overreacting about certain teams. The Lakers are one of those teams without a doubt.
Yeah. No question. No question. The another great thing about it is I'm not so worried about it. I was a little bit in the beginning, but
Mhm.
I jumped the gun on that one. Um, but Russ is starting, like you said, Russ is starting to find his place in that offense. He's, the first few weeks, first few games, he was a little timid, trying to figure out, when is it my turn, things like that. But now when I watch him play, he looks like he knows his place. He knows when to attack. He doesn't need to shoot as much, even though they're giving him wide open shots. Hey, if they're gonna give it to him, take them. But if not, do what you do best, which is go straight at the hole, because nobody can stop him when he gets up there. So, um, if they could do, and then plus we still got some injuries, some guys that haven't even touched the floor yet. So Vogel's gonna have to figure that out. See, get those guys in there. Ariza, none. There might be another guy. But once we get those guys in and really see how this is all gonna gel, I think the Lakers are gonna be fine because the East isn't really that. I mean, the West isn't really that strong. It's not that strong. The Warriors look like the best team right now, but who knows? There's still a lot more basketball left to be played.
Yeah, the Warriors and Suns look really good, but outside of
And
that,
Suns too,
there's
absolutely.
not really a team where I'm like, okay, I'm really scared of. And again, it's like in a series with the Warriors or the Suns, we are going to have two of the three best players in the series. So
Every time.
therefore, there's no reason that we shouldn't win. Obviously, health permitting, AD, LeBron, Russ, all them
Right,
boys
of
have to be
course.
healthy. But they're gonna have two of the three best players in the series. They're gonna be really good. And I'm gonna tell you this, Jones, I can't wait to keep like looking at this season as NBA. Happy it's back. Happy, they got the sold out arenas, all that. I can't
Yep.
wait for the playoffs. Playoff NBA basketball is just
Yeah.
unbelievable. And
So much fun.
Jones, thank you so much for joining me tonight. It was a pleasure having you on for the first time as a guest. Make
Thank
sure you
you.
guys go follow Jones on Twitter at JN4Sports, and also go check out his YouTube channel. He does great content over there. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, bell notification, all that good stuff. Jones, hang around after the show. We'll chat it up a little bit. But you wonderful folks have a fine night, and keep making every moment matter. Peace.